Welcome
Welcome
to the
to the
United
United
Hotspot.
Hotspot.
We
We
are
are
back
back
again,
again,
guys.
guys.
It
It
is
is
that
that
day.
day.
I
I
think
think
the
the
day
day
after
after
such a
such a
sweet
sweet
victory
victory
is
is
the
the
most
most
interesting,
interesting,
I
I
think,
think,
usually.
usually.
The
The
day
day
after the
after the
victory
victory
is
is
more
more
interesting.
interesting.
How
How
has
has
it
it
been
been
for you?
for you?
Honestly, for
Honestly, for
me,
me,
I
I
felt
felt
light
light
today.
today.
I
I
felt
felt
good
good
today.
today.
I
I
felt
felt
happy. I
happy. I
was in
was
a
in a
good
good
mood.
mood.
Well,
Well,
welcome to
welcome
the
to the
United
United
Hotspot. My
Hotspot.
name
My
is
name is
Webb,
Webb,
and we
and
are
we are
back
back
again to
again to
talk
talk
Man
Man
United.
United.
As we
As we
do
do
move on,
move on,
I
I
even
even
got
got
the
the
guts
guts
and
and
energy
energy
to
to
have a
have a
haircut.
haircut.
It's
It's
been a
been
while.
a
People
while.
were
People are
always
always
shouting
shouting
at me,
at me,
Webb,
Webb,
you
you've
neglected
neglected
your
your
hair.
hair.
Your
Your
beard is
beard
too
is too
much.
much.
Okay,
Okay,
that's
that's
what I
what I
needed.
needed.
That
That
victory is
victory is
what I
what I
needed
needed
for me
for
to
me to
be
be
able
able
to
to
have a
have a
proper
proper
haircut. And
haircut. And
here I
here I
am,
am,
guys.
guys.
How have
How
you
have you
been? How
been?
has
How has
been your
been your
day?
day?
How
How
does it
does it
feel
feel
after
after
that
that
victory?
victory?
Liverpool, the
Liverpool, the
Scousers,
Scousers
were
were
taken
taken
to
to
school,
school,
to
to
footballing
footballing
school
school
up to
up to
today,
today,
up to
up to
now.
now.
Andre
Andre
Onana
Onana
is
is
yet to
yet to
recover.
recover.
He
He
has
has
never
never
experienced
experienced
anything
anything
like
like
that in
that in
football.
football.
He
He
now
now
knows
knows
what it
what it
means
means
to
to
play for
play
a
for a
big
big
club.
club.
We'll
We'll
talk
talk
about,
about,
of
of
course,
course,
how
how
we
we
build on
build on
from
from
that
that
win
win
because
because
we've
we've
got to
got to
look
look
at
at
that
that
as a
as a
gone
gone
game
game
and
and
focus
focus
on the
on the
next
next
because,
because I
they
mean they
have
have
excited
excited
us
us
like
like
this
this
before,
before,
only
only
to
to
shock
shock
us.
us.
But
But
we'll
we'll
talk
talk
about
about
what
what
that
that
means
means
to
to
not
not
only
only
Eric
Eric
Ten
Ten
Hag,
Hag,
most
most
importantly
importantly
to
to
Antony
Antony
Dos
Dos
Santos,
Santos,
who
who
I
I
believe
believe
was the
was the
game
game
changer.
changer.
Now,
Now
there
there
is a
is a
decision to
decision to
make
make
on
on
Antony
Antony
Dos
Dos
Santos. You
Santos. You
don't
don't
perform
perform
like
like
that
that
after
after
having
having
so
so
many
many
bad
bad
games
games
and
and
there's
there's
and
and
things
things
stand no
stand no
more.
more.
So
So
Ineos
INEOS
and
and
Sir
Sir
Jim
Jim
Ratcliffe
Ratcliffe
have
have
got a
got a
decision to
decision to
make on
make
the
on the
future of
future of
Antony
Antony
Dos
Dos
Santos.
Santos.
Do
Do
they
they
let
let
go of
go of
him?
him?
Because
Because
we
we
were
were
at
at
some
some
point
point
very
very
sure
sure
he's the
he's the
worst
worst
player,
player,
even if
even if
Eric
Eric
Ten
Ten
Hag
Hag
kept
kept
believing in
believing in
him.
him.
We are
We are
saying,
saying,
should
should
we
we
need
need
should
should
we
we
let
let
go of
go of
him
him
or
or
should
should
we
we
keep
keep
him?
him?
That
That
was
was
a
a
big
conversation
conversation we
we
are
are
having.
having.
That
That
was a
was a
big
big
debate we
debate
are
we are
having.
having.
Well,
Well,
Alfred
Alfred
Sendwe,
Sendwe,
welcome
welcome
aboard,
aboard,
my
my
brother.
brother.
How are
How
you
are you
feeling?
feeling?
You have
You
a
have a
lot of
lot of
feedback.
feedback.
Web
Web,
position
position
nicely
nicely
your
your
mic
mic
and
and
speakers.
speakers.
Oh,
Oh,
is
is
it?
it?
Okay,
Okay,
just a
just a
second.
second.
Just a
Just a
second.
second.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Let me
Let me
work
work
on
on
it.
it.
Okay,
Okay,
there
there
you
you
go.
go.
Better?
Better?
Oh,
Oh, sorry
sorry
about
about
that.
that.
Sorry
Sorry
about
about
that.
that.
What
What
changed
changed
today?
today?
Why
Why
the
the
echo?
echo? Okay,
Okay,
let
let
me
me
see.
see.
How
How
about
about
now?
now?
How
How
about
about
now?
now?
This
This
should be
should be
fixed
fixed
now.
now.
I
I
think it
think it
should be
should be
okay
okay
now.
now.
How do
How
I
do I
sound?
sound?
Hello.
I
I'll
will
proceed
proceed
after
after
seeing
seeing
your
your
message.
message.
Edward
Edward
Musumba,
Musumba,
web
web
your background
background
sound
sound
has
has
an
an
echo.
echo.
Thank you
Thank you
for
for
that.
that.
Thank you
Thank you
for
for
that.
that.
I
I
think
think
it
it
was
was
just a
just a
setting. I
setting I
just
just
mistakenly
mistakenly
clicked
clicked
on. I
on. I
think it
think it
should be
should be
okay
okay
now,
now,
isn't
isn't
it?
it?
Mwila
Mwila
Mutale
Mutale
still,
still
it's
is
still
still
there.
there.
Is it
Is it
still
still
there?
there?
Oh, the
Oh, the
feedback is
feedback is
still
still
there.
there.
Why?
Why?
Why is
Why
it
is it
there?
there?
Let me
Let me
listen to
listen to
myself.
myself.
That's why
That's why
I
I
use
need
speakers. I
speakers. I
don't
don't
enjoy
enjoy
talking
talking
with
with
headsets
headsets
on. It
on. It
feels
feels
like
like
I'm
I'm
on
on
TV.
TV.
Yet
Yet
I don't
I don't
want
want
this to
this to
feel
feel
like
like
TV.
TV.
That's
That's
why I
why I
don't
don't
have
have
headsets
headsets
on
on
or
or
radio.
radio.
But
But
if But
but
why?
why?
What
What
happened
happened
this
this
time? Why
time?
is
Why
that
is that
happening?
happening?
Why is
Why
it
is it
killing the
killing the
pace?
pace?
These
These
Scousers
Scousers
must be
must be
trying
trying
to
to
bewitch the
bewitch
show
the show
because they
because
know
they know
I was
I
going
was
to
going to
come at
come at
them.
them. Let me
Listen to
listen to
myself.
myself.
Let me
Let me
just
just
listen to
listen to
myself.
myself.
One
One
second.
second.
One
One
second.
second.
Stick with
Stick with
me.
me.
Stick with
Stick
me,
with me,
please.
please.
And
And
thank you
thank you
for
for
alerting.
alerting.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
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 I've
I've
heard
had
it.
it.
This
This
should
should
be
be
a
a
setting
setting
somewhere. This should be a simple setting somewhere. This should be a simple setting somewhere. Oh, oh, okay. Let's see how that sounds. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying to fix it. Sorry. Sorry. What did I click? The excitement of that victory, I think just got the better of me. I messed up. Hello. How is it going? How does it sound now? Is it still there? Okay. Just hold on a second. Hold on a second. Just hold on a second. Just hold on a second. Oh, goodness. What is happening? What's happening? Scousers! Scousers. Move on. They can't take a loss. What's wrong with these people? Hello. Oh, goodness. What is happening? What's happening? Scousers! Scousers. Move on. They can't take a loss. Should be okay now. Now it's fine. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and I apologize. I apologize, my guys. Hello. I apologize. I apologize for that, and thank you for alerting me. Scousers! It's fine now. Okay, thank you so much. Bless you, fam. Thank you. Let's get it on. So, Antony should be okay Santos. Now it's fine. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and. So here we go. So I was talking about Antony dos Santos. Now, Antony dos Santos scored such a goal. To me, he was the game changer for Man United because, trust you me, Marcus Rashford had failed to show up. Antony comes off the bench. I was quick to go on Twitter and attack Eric Ten Hag for his usual substitutions. But again, that's the thing of trust. And it is okay for a manager to trust someone. I thought for Antony, he had over-trusted him. And he kept speaking about him in the press conference, saying the issues he had were partly responsible for the poor form he has been having. But honestly, many of us had given up on him, but he comes on and scores such a goal out of nothing, by the way. I rewatched that goal for about 20 times. I watched that goal and the mad goal for about 20 times today. On my phone, I've been replaying that goal. I don't know how many times you guys have replayed the goal, and it's okay, it's understandable. You're not alone. You're all of us. That goal, the Ahmad goal, and Kobe Maino's highlights. Those are the three things it's all I've been doing today. That's all I've been watching. Now, the reality is that goal was a turning point, and not only for the team, but also for Antony, because as a player who has been going through a bad spell, you need such moments to overturn things around. I mean, Antony signed a contract of 5 years when he joined in 2022, earning nearly over 10 million pounds per year. That's about a 52 million pounds contract. That's what he signed with Man United, a long contract. Now we know that before that game, INEOS had clearly made a decision he's not staying. Now, after such a performance, this is a 24-year-old player, and you never want to completely rule out a 24-year-old player. I know this very well because you don't rule out and the best example is players like Mo Salah, Kevin De Bruyne, players like Romelu Lukaku. You don't rule out young footballers because if they had the talent to get to that level, maybe it's still somewhere embedded in there. So what then do we do? And for me, that's the question I'm putting to you. Do we, because of that performance in that game, that could actually, because if we go ahead and win this FA Cup, which is the ultimate goal for Man United, Antony will have to take a lot of credit for it. A lot. He bought us time in that game, and he was running and fighting. If there's one thing I've never doubted with Antony, and here's the thing. I mean, he might have lost his form and got off it, but the one thing I've never doubted Antony at is the hard work. And even after scoring this goal, his teammates have been talking about him. He works hard. Eric Ten Hag, that's why Eric Ten Hag keeps putting him there. He has got a good mentality. He's a good boy, genuinely. He has got a good mentality. and he works hard. He works extremely hard. The things he does that are annoying are because he's Brazilian. I mean, that's how they play their football. They want to enjoy their football. The sad bit is he could no longer enjoy his football because things were not happening for him. But also he had challenges back home because he knew, the investigations and the allegations, some girls trying to bring him down. So they obviously have something on you and on his head. So what then do we do to him? Do we give him a chance? Now, what does another chance mean? Do we let him run out his contract? Do we first loan him, or we keep him there in the summer and sell all other players? But the only issue for me, and whereas like I've just said, he's a 24-year-old player, and I know well not to rule out such a young player. Whereas that is so, the only issue for me is his wages are crazy. They are sick. I'm not sure with the spell, with the season we are in, where INEOS wants to cut player wages and staff salaries and stuff to try and focus on the football and revamp it. I don't think they would be patient with him. But can this one game change things? I think they can. It can, especially if Erik ten Hag stays. If INEOS choose to trust Erik ten Hag, and this is something we're going to talk about as well, whether Erik ten Hag should be trusted or not. Maybe later I'll come back and talk about it in depth. If Antony is lucky and Erik ten Hag stays at Man United, then it is very possible that ten Hag could push to keep him around. Let's give him another chance. This is according to Abraham Mwanza. Let's give him another chance. Namtewi Rita says, let's give him another chance. You never know. Alex Jigba, High Web, still we need to keep Antony dos Santos. He's still young and will develop to a very good player for Man United. Well, most of you think he needs more. Lamin Kesonko also says, yeah, he still needs more time to recover. So you can see that many people are for him staying. Now, him staying, should he stay at United in the summer and recover from United? Should we first loan him out somewhere for him to first recover and bring him back? Because if you're loaned, you're still a player. Go somewhere where the pressure is less. Because my worry is, and I hope it does, if we kept him around and it doesn't work, then what will happen after that? The same people who have been praising him for that game will forget about that performance and will go back at him and take him down again. The things, though, is for me, what I like about Ten Hag, if I were a player and why I would play my legs out and run my lungs out for Erik ten Hag, is because of how he trusts players. It's a unique thing, knowing the kind of job they do. The Man United job, you're a loss away, one mistake away from the sack, from the bullet. If you trust players like this, even when they're not performing, it shows it's good. It encourages a player, and that's why you see some of these players will fight for Erik ten Hag, even when they clearly see they are struggling. The guy is putting him there, so is putting them there. So that's a good thing. So for me, that's the thing. But I think for me, the whole decision will depend on how he builds on that performance. How does he capitalize on that performance? The reality is it could be difficult for him to come back into the starting team if Marcus Rashford, Garnacho, and Højlund are there up top. Where is he going to play? Erik ten Hag before always found a way of fixing him somewhere, but it was mostly at the hands of Garnacho. There is no way Erik ten Hag can bench Garnacho now. He's arguably perhaps his best forward now, arguably. So where then will he fix him? He will still remain a bench player. But are you going to stay as a bench player earning £10 million per year? That's again, and those are the things that make it difficult to push the case for Antony. And I hate that we are being excited by one game because he has had so many terrible games. But the magnitude of the occasion, how we took it up, and with the result of it, maybe that performance alone, if we won the FA Cup, that performance from Antony could be worth more than the so many bad games he's had. It would bring back all the money that has been wasted on him for the times he has played so far at Man United. And if he builds on that in the remaining games, maybe then the conversation of keeping him might make sense. Because look, the biggest problem United is having right now is the right wing. But Antony is never going to be a starter in the right wing. He's never going to start ahead of Alejandro Garnacho. Unless Garnacho leaves, and because we hear that Florentino Perez is planning, wants to meet with Garnacho and try to confuse him. And guys, no, there are rumors that you can refute, and this could be one of them easily. But if it's Real Madrid talking, you don't refute rumors about Real Madrid. None of us had dreamt or expected that in 2008 Man United could sell Cristiano Ronaldo to Real Madrid. But Madrid, when Madrid points at a player, it's very easy to disorganize them. It's really a huge brand. And you see, before, when we were United, the winning United, we would match with them, with Real Madrid. Right now, we cannot say the same because they are far ahead of us. So if a young player like Garnacho is flattered by Real Madrid, a team that has his idols have played for and all, he can be disorganized, and it will take him having a good character, a good head on his shoulders to say, no, it's not the best for me, because if he went to Real Madrid, that would be the worst decision for his career. He would be gone. He would be gone like the summer. He would be gone, disappear in ether. That would be the worst mistake for him to make. But you see, I'm trapped between a rock and a hard place, because I think he had failed to perform. We have all seen it. He was terrible. We were never happy when he came on as a substitute until yesterday or last night when he did give us a result. But you see, it would have been easier to push his case if he had a reasonable contract. But you see, the John Matters and Richard Arnolds of this world went and gave this boy a long, crazy contract. If I'm Antony and Manchester United say, look, we think you're a young player who can develop into a good player, but you're earning so much. Can you take a pay cut to stay? If I'm Antony, I would do it. You see how Harry Maguire fought and stayed, and right now we are saying Harry Maguire was one of, if not our best player, off the bench against Liverpool. And obviously, honestly, for me right now, Harry Maguire should be the last centre-back we think about selling. Of course, no one think about selling Lisandro Martinez. He's not on the sellable list. But of the sellable centre-backs we have, or players, not even centre-backs, of the sellables we have at Man United, Harry Maguire should be the last on the list. And he should leave when the money is good. Right now, we cannot say that, because he's important in that battle. If Varane goes, Maguire can stay and play with Lisandro Martinez. He's an important player, clearly, now. So you saw how we fought and turned the tide. Now, Antony dos Santos can do the same, and he's even younger. The reason maybe Maguire can go is because he's past 30, and INEOS are saying we want to rebuild a team with young players. But you see, with Antony, he's only 24, he's Brazilian, and he has shown before at Ajax that he can be a good player. Yet to prove it entirely at Man United. That goal can turn things around for him. But if you look at the wages he's earning, and you clearly know that the situation we are in, where we want to trim the money that we are spending on staff, he's one of the easy victims. He's one of the easy victims of a pay cut. So if I'm him, players take pay cuts to start clubs they love. The best decision, if Man United is open to the idea of keeping Antony, for me, if I were his advisor, I would be telling him, you know what, you've made a lot of money the past, nearly 2 years. You've earned 200 and something pounds per week. You're Brazilian, you're filthy rich for the rest of your life. Your entire clan will be rich for the rest of your life. For now, you're still 24. Your besties can be ahead of you. You know what? Take a pay cut. If they're saying that's a window to explore, be humble. Take a pay cut, even if it's slicing his wages by half. Take it and rejuvenate your career. And then let it be sort of a restart. And for me, that would be okay, because then he will have time he can end up at Real Madrid in the future. He could be the best story of football. Everyone wants to write their story. I think Antony, it would be best for him. You don't sign for 85 million pounds, and after 2 seasons, you're terrible, and you just, go like that. No club will sign him. Even the Saudi clubs won't pay him a quarter of what he's earning if he left in the current situation, unless if he left tomorrow. Unless if he leaves tomorrow when it's still sort of hot and his performance is still hot. But of course, they can't sign you on one performance, on one game. So my thinking is, if Antony can take a pay cut, turn things around for him. He could be brought back to that player, and maybe after 3, 4, 5 years, if things are not going so well, he can go and even make crazy money in Saudi. It will even be more in Saudi. In 5 years, Antony will be 29. In 5 years, Saudi Arabia will be able to pay players £1 million per week. Mediocre players. That's why if you've got sons, you better push your sons to play football, you people. He can be a substitute as long as he makes an impact of the pitch. Madrid tried David and failed. The same can happen to Garnacho. When you look at Madrid, he has no chance of being a first-team player. See? Exactly. I agree completely. The thing with Antony, for me, he can stay on the bench, but it's very difficult for anyone, any CEO, Omar Berada with his experience, to accept to give a bench player the wages Antony is earning when because he will be earning more than most all the starters, nearly most of them. I think if Marcus Rashford stayed, he could be the only, him and Bruno could be the, I think Antony actually earns even more than Bruno. So I think it would be difficult for even the players. What message does it send to the Onanas, who is earning, I think Onana is earning £120,000 per week, to players like Diogo Diallo, who is earning, Diogo Diallo I think is earning 65 or 75,000 pounds per week. Then look at players like Lisandro Martinez. Martinez is also earning 100 and I think Martinez is earning 140,000 pounds or thereabout per week. Then you have Bruno, who is earning also just around 200,000, almost the same as Antony, the captain. Then you have Hoyland, who is earning 85,000 pounds per week. You have Garnacho, who currently, Garnacho by the current is earning, I think, 30,000 pounds, thereabout. He's earning very little money. If it was increased recently, it should be about 50 or 60,000. Kobe is just going to have, at the end of the season, he's going to sign a new contract. Currently, he's earning 20,000 pounds per week. He's going to sign a longer contract to earn 60,000 pounds. So, and all these players I've mentioned are starters ahead of Antony. So, if you keep Antony around and he cannot start ahead of all these players, eventually you're sending a wrong message. And you see, football is highly psychological, it's highly mental. It won't be good for the dressing room. These players, however professional they can be, I don't think it's right. It's the right way to manage. So you're managing this one player because there is hope in him, but you're paying him a lot of money to be on the bench and come on, whichever impact it would cause coming off the bench is okay. You see, we can keep Scott McTominay coming off the bench, but McTominay is earning 60,000 pounds per week. That's money for a bench player, really. But INEOS are saying they are putting the structure right. So it would be oxymoron of them to say they are putting the Man United structure right, yet they are keeping an Antony, who is never going to start ahead of anyone at Man United, but they are keeping him to come off the bench to earn 200,000 pounds per week. It's difficult. So that's the tricky situation. So for me, the solution for him, in fact, if I were his representatives, I would even go and approach INEOS, Omar Berada, and say, we are seeking for a meeting with you. We are saying, we know you're not, because they obviously know the first plan for INEOS is to let go of Antony. They should be going there and saying, you know what, we showed you what we can do. This boy showed you he has the heart of the club. He's fighting, he works hard. I've never seen him as a lazy player. Things were just not happening. There are reasons. Don't let go of him. We know we are earning so much money. Cut the pay by half. Pay him 100,000 pounds per week and keep him to rejuvenate his contract. My bro, you are right. Let's give them a chance. Interesting one. Now, speaking of chances, there are one player who was given a chance, and of course, the Muslims will say, oh, Alhamdulillah, I was here. I dropped a video here when Amad Diallo deleted his accounts, and you can see what the man above can do. Probably his goal is part of the results of fasting. I tell people to fast, by the way. I fast myself. I love it. It's a good thing. It's not even just about being a Muslim. It's not just about being a Muslim. I mean, I think fasting works, and I'm not here to say that Diallo's goal was because it's fasting. Well, maybe it was. If you're a spiritual person, maybe it wasn't. But the way that sprint from his box, for someone fasting, guys, if you've ever fasted before, you would know what he did was beyond just a footballer. I mean, that sprint from the box for someone who has not eaten anything, Probably all he had was a yellow banana before coming into the game, because perhaps you can't have, after you've been fasting the whole day, it's difficult to have a heavy meal. So there's no way he could have recovered that energy. Perhaps he had a light energy drink to take, but I think when you're fasting, you cannot even take energy drinks. But that run and the goal he scored is going to change a lot for him. He was man of the match. The naysayers are attacking. Can you imagine? And I had to sit on my channel and talk about, other people. But there is this channel who guys are coming out and they're bashing Antony. Apparently he's overrated, Amad Diallo, saying he's overrated because he was given the man of the match. I didn't know he was given man of the match. You can imagine the game ends and I didn't care about the rest. I just dropped my reaction, my player ratings, gave my own man of the match. I didn't care. I found out late because I told you, for me, when Man United wins, I struggle to sleep. That's a funny thing. I sleep easily when we lose. It's easier for me to sleep when we lose than it is when to win. Now imagine with the nature of that victory against Liverpool and how it came. I slept, I think, about 5 a.m. It's funny, it's silly, isn't it? How do I struggle to sleep when my team has won? Well, I sit down and start reflecting on everything we did good, what we could have done better. I start smiling with myself, thinking about how Kobe was stepping over and beating bodies, compiling lists, calling them and beating them off. Then think about Antony and how this could change his career. Then I'm even confused in my head. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? Man United wins. I love them. Don't get it twisted. But they just disorganized my little head. They just disorganized my head. So they give me crazy nights. I don't know. You can tell me your experience when we win such games, because that was an absolute classic. That the only game I think that I've watched in open era that can compare to that game was the World Cup final between Argentina and France. I think for me, that's the only game that can compare to that game. The World Cup final in Qatar between Argentina and France is the one game that can try to match that in terms of classics. In the Premier League, rather, in the FA Cup or in English football, not just the FA Cup, that game will go down in history as an absolute classic. And I think it broke a record for most views in the UK. I think it broke some record for most television views, I think, of a single match or something in the UK. That's how big that game was. So that's why it can change the career now of people like Antony, but also the boss, Erik ten Hag. Did you see Erik ten Hag's suit? How is no one talking about Erik ten Hag's suit? How is no one talking about it? I should have put on a suit like him. I've got a dark blue suit. I think I have its buzz coat as well, and a red tie, a white shirt. I should have dressed like him. How did I? Maybe tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll dress like Erik ten Hag. Ten Hag's suit. I don't think I'd ever seen Erik ten Hag in a suit like that on a match. You can remind me, but he dressed up for the occasion. That's a sign of character, guys. You see, the things we say without speaking are the loudest usually. Erik ten Hag was sending a message. It was a sign of confidence, utmost confidence and belief in what he was doing, respect for his job, respect for the occasion. He knew this was going to be an important game, and from the way he looked to everything, he had to turn up. I don't know. For me, everything just seemed right. And I was telling you before the game that I had this feeling in me that it was going to be a good game. For as long as the players had psyched themselves up, we would have a good game. But look, you sit here, and I think over the most part of the game, the one player who almost did not play so well was the captain, Bruno. But then in the last 30 minutes of the game, he was something else. Played centre back. And then Maguire was adding to the attack. By the way, Eric, that game, and this is why it could change the fate for Erik ten Hag. That game showed us a lot of good things. It showed the character of Man United. It showed that we can play. The first 30 minutes of that game, Man United played football. We bossed Liverpool at their own game. Where Man United, we were playing at home, we were confident. Erik ten Hag tactically got it impeccably right. We can fault him for wrong tactics so many times, but the tactics, he got it impeccably right. He was perfect with his tactics. And only him would see the things he was doing. Only him. None of us would have predicted what happened in that game. I honestly did not even realize when Ahmad came on. Can you imagine? Because at some point I was almost giving up on that game. When Antony came on, I stopped my watch along. I was becoming bitter. Now I said I need to focus on this game because I was losing it with this guy. When he brought on Antony, then puts off Kobe, I'm like, Kobe has been our best player from the start of the game. Instead of if it were me, and thank God I'm not the manager, I would advance Kobe and make him a number 10 and push Bruno elsewhere because of how a threat he was. Guys, I don't know whether you see and appreciate how threatening Kobe Mainoo is when he gets in the final third. Because for a player who can put off 5 people at a goal, guys come at him and they scored against Wolves. That's how he was almost assisting for Wan-Bissaka. He can beat off bodies. That is what you need from a number 10. Ozil was good at it. Zinedine Zidane was good at it. Kaka was good at it. Those are the players. The way the guy glides around bodies, forests of bodies, but he's just gliding through them like a what? So so if it were me, I would have advanced. But Erik ten Hag pulls him off, brings on Christian Eriksen, who hasn't been playing forever. But did you see how Eriksen opened us up? And that's what Eriksen can do. When he has a good game, he's so smart that he will open you up. But you see how he opened us up. And you realize with the Ahmad goal, I saw Kobe and these other players they were celebrating with Eriksen. They were hugging Eriksen because they knew how he also changed the game when he came on. So if you talk about game changers in that game, and that's why, like Tugumeke Simon, who says, I didn't sleep last night, just smiling, watching goal per goal. You understand? Because if you go back, and even tomorrow, I'll go back and replay that game. It's good we are not playing again until the 30th of March. I'm going to read for you the next upcoming fixtures. We're traveling to Brentford. But so we'll miss football a bit. So I will rewatch that game. But for me, if you watch that game again, you can think Andre Onana was our best player. Onana played extremely well. Diogo Diallo played extremely well. Diallo every day looks more confident on the ball. He feels like he can play midfield at some point. That boy is so skillful. I remember watching an interview after the game against Luton when we beat Luton. Did they beat us? No, we beat them unconvincingly, but we beat them. No, was it? No, not Luton. The FA Cup game where Kobe Mainoo scored his first goal. Kobe and Bruno scored in that game, and Antony. That game, which team was it? Newport. It was Newport County. When we beat Newport, I watched an interview with a Newport player, and they were asking him, because of course for these players to play against a team like Man United, it's a dream. So for them, they were a bit starstruck. They were interviewed after the game to tell their stories. How did it feel to play against Man United players? How do they behave? How do they look? Were you close to them? So there was that interview, an interview I watched, and one of these players said, for him, I think it's the guy who scored the goal against us, I think. He said, for him, the player who amazed him the most, of course, Bruno for his humility, because Bruno spoke to him well after he had scored. Actually, Bruno told him that was a beautiful goal on the pitch. But he said Diogo Diallo amazed him. He doesn't get enough credit. He's so good on the ball. And there is a flick Diallo did in that game. The ball, a throw-in, I think it was either throw-in to him or a chipped ball to him. And there was a Luton striker between him and Onana, but he just heeled the ball back confidently to Onana. Now, that's a sign of confidence and skill. But you think about Diogo Diallo and the way he was playing yesterday, the way he was inverting and coming in. Diallo is such a baller. I think we've yet to see the best of Diallo. And he also has got a personality, a character. Antony was saying he's the one player who has supported him a lot through his struggles to try and fight back. So you watch that game, you watch the Andre Onana saves, and you think, I think this guy kept us in the game. Then you watch Diogo Diallo, like, boy, what a player. Varane was a bit silent, but he performed. Varane, he's always a silent performer many a time, but he's always performing, by the way. Varane is always consistent. I can look slow sometimes because of age, of course, but He's always performing. Lindelof performed when he was on the pitch. He was working hard when he was on the pitch. Left, Spider Wan-Bissaka, impeccable. In fact, to many again, it was surprising that they pulled him off. But again, Erik ten Hag knew his tactics. Then you go in the middle. Kobe Mainoo from the start of the game was a masterclass. He was in the mood. He was just in the mood. Then Scott McTominay, best game he's played for Man United. If you ask me, that was Scott McTominay's best game in a Man United jersey. By far, by the way. His best game, by far. He could have been, for me, probably was the man, could have been one of the man of the match. For those who played 90 minutes, he was the man of the match. Then Bruno wasn't the very best because of how good the others were. But Bruno is always working hard. And when the last 30 minutes when he played central defense, then he just opened a new dimension to his game. So you cannot disrespect him. Then go wide, Marcus Rashford missed chances, but we always felt it that a goal was coming from Rashford. He had bad moments, he was annoying at times, but that's Rashford. He will annoy but score. You always felt it that he was a shot away from a goal. Jadon Sancho must have been watching the game. He posted something on Instagram, a photo of Marcus Rashford, and said he was world class. We can debate about that probably. Then he got the man of the match award. Garnacho, another man of the match. The substitutes from Ahmad, who eventually took the award, to Harry Maguire, Antony. Who else did we bring on? Which are Christian Eriksen. All our substitutes could easily have been a man of the match. So you see that the entire team performed extremely well. And that's what I've been saying before, that whereas, yes, the injuries are there and we miss players like Lisandro Martinez, Casemiro, all these other players, yes, it is true. But that cannot be the excuse every day from Erik ten Hag, because those players cannot be that bad as they make themselves look sometimes. Because now, and they the same players who played the way they did. Erik ten Hag said it himself. That was, for him, that was the best game he has played this season. Erik ten Hag in his post-match press conference, but he had no Lisandro Martinez, he had no Højlund at his best, he had no who else? Casemiro, he had no Luke Shaw. So that's what I've been saying, that these players are not good. Yes, they are not good, but they are not as bad as they appear to be sometimes. They are better than the poor performances we've had. Now, if we go back into the next game and they cannot perform like that, honestly, the bigger blame should be on the players probably. Because Erik ten Hag has proven that when the players put their heads right, he has the tactics. He just trusts the players and they let him down. But probably his tactics are usually right. Because there was so much tactic and brain. Klopp was disorganized. He was beaten hands down tactically. Hands down. Erik ten Hag beat Klopp hands down. And by the way, Erik ten Hag gives these so-called big managers headache. He's a Dutchman anyway. That's why I support the Dutch in football when it comes to national team. The same applies to me. I fail to sleep, keep myself on United app, check everything posted, text my friends, Nevidala. That is the beauty of the game. Such a beautiful game called football. Such a beautiful game. Now, we're going to miss it for a bit, but of course there is an international break coming. But our upcoming fixtures. So we've got Brentford on the 30th of March. That's an away game. That's one we should win. Thursday, 4th April, we've got Chelsea up away. By the way, for that Brentford game, it's possible that Lisandro Martinez could be back. Thursday, 4th April, we've got Chelsea away. Tough game, but you see, if we can beat Liverpool the way we did, what is Chelsea. Then Sunday, 7th April, we've got Liverpool at home. Saturday, 13th April, we've got Bournemouth. If Erik ten Hag was given an ultimatum of 3 games, which I spoke about here before, there were reports that he had been given an ultimatum. Boy, he has passed this one with flying colors, because we beat Everton well, fair and square. and then we humiliated Liverpool. That was a humiliation. It may have looked close, but it was a humiliation because we did not fumble into the victory. It was tactically executed. The guys, it was game on. We were better than them. Yes, they had their moments like Liverpool would, but we were better than them. So the next remaining fixtures for me, it's now up to the players to capitalize on how they performed, build on that. The one thing I would expect Erik ten Hag to do, though, going forward, is to keep, for the rest of the season, keep Antony as his backup left back. In training, starting the next training, Antony should be training as a left back. He should be training as a left back. If I'm Erik ten Hag, that's what I would be doing. Never mind him scoring that goal. So those are the next games we have. And honestly, maybe Liverpool might think they can make it difficult for us to beat them again. But I think we can because it's still a home game. It will perhaps even be more interesting. This will be in the Premier League on the 7th of April. Lita will be back, most likely. Boy, Casemiro probably will be there. Trust you me. Liverpool the worst is a draw. They won't beat us at home. This Chelsea away, we can beat them at the bridge, or we can at worst get a draw. So beat your Brentford, beat Bournemouth. I see Aston Villa and Spurs are beginning to drop points a bit. They are looking inconsistent and confused in ways. Guys, the top four can be real. Namtemirita, to me, it rubbed off the 7-goal defeat. Proper. I agree with you. Proper. This was it. You see, they beat us 7-0. We were humiliated. But you see, at that point, really, the 7-0, Liverpool was way too good, and United were way too bad. We were way too bad. This time around, this was a man's game. It's like saying you're beating you shoot a dead person and you brag. You're a soldier. You go to war. You go to war. You find a dead guy and you shoot them, and then you come celebrating that I found this guy dead and I shot him in the head. He's dead already. What are you bragging about? That's exactly what Liverpool did with that 7-0. We're a dead team trying to rediscover ourselves, trying to resurrect. This time around, it was a man's game. The strength of a soldier is shown in how they face fellow men. Go to the battlefield with fellow men. It was a man's game. Bring it on. And we all know the result. So Klopp, he was bitter in his post-match press conference. Edward Musumba-Webb, just know that in the beginning of his footballing career, yes, he started as a centre-back, but was later put into advanced role as a midfielder. Yeah, I know that. He started as a centre-back, and he said it himself. So he's a smart player, but also that's why he loves tracking back instinctively. Biekaze Ivan, some players did not produce for the 100% for the badge. Well, in this particular game, honestly, even if a particular player did not produce 100%, it is difficult to identify them and pinpoint them. I think even those who are not putting in their best shift got lost in so many who put in their best shift. Honestly, I would struggle to pinpoint one player who did not fight for the badge. Who? Biakaze Ivan. Who would be that player? I'm trying to think, reflect on the game. I never get tired of reflecting on this game. It's okay. I'm trying to think of which player I would look at and say they did not give their best. Who? Could have been Rashford for me. But again, I would sound like I have a bias on the guy. He scored, but he missed. And there's a point where I thought he looked a little complacent, uninspired. Diogo Dalot swings an audacious cross to him, controls it, and he was almost, I think, going to juggle the ball and was looking laissez-faire. I'm like, this is not what you do. But honestly, for me, I think most of the players, if not all, really put in. I cannot think of one player who did not. I cannot, honestly. That would be unfair for that particular game. Before that, 100% yes. But for this particular game, I think they all did. I think they all did. So now the question is, how do we build on that fixture? Because guys, we've been excited before. Namtevi Rita agrees with me and disagrees with you, Ivan, that she also doesn't see which player. Honestly, Ivan, you can mention a player, and it's a matter of opinions. You can mention a player who did not give 100%. I think for this particular game, don't look at games before this one. Look at the Liverpool game. Thanks, bro. It's me, Ayub from Gambia. Yes, Ayub, how are you, brother? Anthony, let's give him a chance because he's learning now, and I'm sure he will make up. Okay, Ayub, thank you so much. I think everyone thinks Anthony should be given a chance. It's now up to INEOS and his team to devise a means, a structure, a working structure of how they are going to keep this boy and make him relevant and useful, because he showed that he can, and he also has shown. For me, the one thing I love about Antony is the heart, consistently showing that heart and desire and fight and working hard, and but also knowing that he's a good character. When I was at Carrington, honestly, and you read a good person, I didn't see him at Carrington, saw him at Old Trafford before the Tottenham game as they drive in for the players, and he slowed down his car and he waved at me with a nice, genuine smile, really, and it touched my heart. It warmed my heart, and you all know my biases with him. I've dissed him here. If you haven't watched, you can go back in history. Me, if there is one player who will come at me and say, "You guy, you dissed me when I was not doing well," it's Antony. I think I can proper guilty as charged. Even when he was brought on, I put it on Twitter. I didn't delete it. It's still there. I'm no coward because that was my opinion at the time, and I'm sure many of us were saying, "And now we see why does he bring on Antony?" The reality is, it's because he was bought for a lot of money and he was not performing, and he's blocking the opportunity for Ahmad. For me, that was the most painful bit. Ahmad and Pelistri was developing. Then Antony returns from his issues in Brazil, straight goes back into the starting team. Pelistri never returned until he was loaned to Granada. So it was becoming a little personal, as if Pelistri and Ahmad are my children. But you see, they don't have to be. If you're blocking young players, you should be good enough. So for me, I attacked him fair and square, and he disproved me. And I'm here saying it, admitted. I'm even the one saying, should we keep him or not? The debate for Erik ten Hag, he works hard. If he has the games to prove himself, what we know is that Erik ten Hag will keep playing him ahead of Ahmad. Most probably, he should not be playing him on the left wing, maybe. Maybe that's what you should say. But yeah, we can give him a chance, but he has to earn it. If he's to stay on the same wages, he must be in the starting 11. But you see, it's possible for Antony to turn things around, and he performs better than Marcus Rashford, because the weak link, the one player Antony can displace is Rashford. He can show up and start playing magical football, then Erik ten Hag will be forced to bench Rashford, put Garnacho on the left where he wants to play the most, then put Anton on the right if he turns up. But you see that is difficult. But between now and the end of the season, let's wait and see. It's good the rotations will be on now that we are still in the FA Cup, and we are going to face Coventry. And Antony seems to be an FA Cup player. So the FA Cup, he can win us the FA Cup, by the way, and leave a hero. If he left in the summer, if Antony lives in the summer, he will leave a loved guy. He will leave a legend. Maybe it's a good thing probably now that he performed like that. You can look at it from the other side and say, now that he has put on such a performance in this game, maybe we can get good money, because we need money. For me, I like it when these players score goals, but the decision was probably made a long time. We won't change it on one game. But right now, maybe the value can go high. If we bought him at 85, if we get 60 because he has been performing well, judging by the last games, or 50, it's good business. The competition he has so far will force him to improve. Let's wait a little longer. Okay, that's interesting, because we need competition in all places. And there is talk of bringing Michael Olise. So mention Greenwood. I think Man U seem to be open to to taking offers for Mason Greenwood. And I told you here before how one of our director of transfer negotiations, Matt Hargreaves, and one of the former CEO, John Mata, were meeting Deco, the Barcelona sporting director. But it turns out they did not seem to come to an agreement on Mason Greenwood. Probably it's maybe because it's not what they were talking about, or because the talks did not go as they planned. It is rumored that these same guys are set to meet Real Madrid chiefs. On what? We are still hoping, where people are hoping it's on Mason Greenwood. So probably, I think what these guys are doing, they're trying to listen to which club would have a reasonable offer for Mason Greenwood. Because my thinking is, and I've been trying to reflect a lot on the price tag, because most likely they are going to sell Greenwood. But I was trying to reflect a lot on the price tag. And I'm saying £34 million or even £40 million for Mason Greenwood is insane in this day and age. It's absolutely insane. But probably what these guys are doing, they are trying to get a good deal where you pay £40 million or £34 million for Greenwood. But in the deal, there is a clause where Man United will keep earning a significant amount of him for a proper, significant period of time. And maybe that's where they failed with Barcelona and some of these clubs, because you certainly know, I think, most likely, unless, God forbid, he gets an injury, wherever Greenwood goes, he will shine. So United might want to include the clauses we hear these days where a player, the club earns based on their performances, on those bonuses. So maybe that is where they're having issues. So that's why they're still vending him, to try and listen to a club that has a proper offer for him. But also the fact that he's an academic graduate, they want to get the best for the kid, because they are not letting go of him because they don't want him, because they are saying, let's get money. I think this is a parent who has been forced to let go, to give out their child for adoption, not against their will, but they have to. This is a forced adoption. You're a parent, you love your baby, you love your child, but because of the circumstances and situations, you're forced to surrender your child for adoption. But that you have to choose. You have an option of choosing who will adopt your child, because you're still there, you're able to take care of them, but you just want the best for them. So that's exactly what I think they're doing, these John Matters and Matt Hargreaves, trying to vend Mason Greenwood, rather. So that's what they're trying to do. So we might be, but you see, if we are playing the way we did against Liverpool, it will be easier for us to live without Greenwood, to move on from him. For as long as we are struggling, it will be extremely difficult, because they will beat us. Brentford beats us in the next game, and trust me, we will be shouting Greenwood back again. So it's a bit of a situation. But I wanted to end with how we build on this performance. For me, the one thing we need to do to build on this performance, one, we need to have the confidence now that we can play football. At least you clearly see that players are beginning to have an understanding of how Erik ten Hag wants them to play. They seem to now show that they probably love playing the way he wants them to play. Andre Onana, the goalkeeper, who they build on, very important part of how we play, is clicking. So that means everyone's confidence should be lifted. But also the fact that everyone played well. You see, if you're a team and a unit, when some of your colleagues, these boys are friends, they are sort of like brothers now. If one of your brothers, Antony, is not performing well, Maguire is struggling, somehow they also see it and they feel bad because they are together. They probably see how hard these players work in training. So they feel bad when they see them struggle, the mental health. They know that it happens. So if everyone performed so well, like I've said here, I would struggle to pinpoint one player who didn't perform. The entire team then is lifted. So maintain that energy, and we shall be able to beat everyone, because now we'll bring back the fear factor that had eluded us for a long time. We had lacked the fear factor. But if everyone shows what they can do the way we did against Liverpool, against the big teams, when the whole world is watching, that's confidence for all players. Right now, trust me, these players, Antony will walk with his head high wherever he goes. These players will walk with their heads high with confidence. Now that lifts them. So now focus and play football. Enjoy your training, work harder, and build on that. For me, that's the only way it's going to happen. But if these players just psych themselves up for the occasion of Liverpool, and against Brentford, they are back and they are just still thinking about the Liverpool performance, trust me, we are going to be back again saying we are inconsistent. We play well against Aston Villa, the next game we are losing to Nottingham. Play very well against this team, Everton, the next game we are struggling. So we need now, this for me came at the right time. We passed the test in flying colors because the fixture pile was scary. This is the turning point we needed. We can actually win all the remaining games just because of that performance. It's possible. Right now, Man United is the most dangerous team to face in the world. It's the most dangerous team. Brentford must be thanking God that this fixture is 13 days away. If this game was to take place this weekend, Brentford would ask for water. They would not turn up for the game. They would be in fear. They would not show up. That's a figure of speech. So I think that's all we need to do. Build on that performance, and we see how far we can go. Focus on our games, like Eric Ten Hag has been saying. Let's not focus on Aston Villa and Spurs. Let's win our games by building on that performance because they were all watching. So that's it, guys. I think let me let you retire. Thank you so much. It's been an awesome 1 hour. Again, I apologize for starting with issues with my audio. I apologize, really. I don't want to waste your time and data, really. I respect your time a lot that you spend an entire 1 hour to come and enjoy the show. So I'm sorry that we lost a few minutes just because of audio, but I hope it doesn't happen again. Thank you so much, guys. Have yourselves a good night, a good morning, a good evening, and yeah, let me see the poll just one more time. Just on the poll that we posted, I asked you about this boy. What should Man United do with Antony in the summer? 31% are saying sell, 14% are saying loan, 51% are saying keep him, and 3% don't care. But most 51%, the majority of you feel we should keep him. Let's wait and see what INEOS are contemplating doing. My name is Webb. This is the United Hotspot. I'll see you again tomorrow. Cheers. And of course, to the queen of the United Hotspot, the only lady in the house, Namteli Rita. You're special. Have a good night.